Hey guys, Utah Steve here, back for another video. I was tagged by Devin with Backcountry Exposure to list my top 5 favorite backpacking items, and that is not an easy task, especially as I've just gotten back from an overnighter hammock camping, and if you could see the pile that's over here, most of what I love to take every single time has been stuffed in my backpack for a few days. So I pulled it all out and it's all wrinkled and looks like crap because I just got it unpacked and hanging it to dry and stuff like that. So in the meantime, luckily the top 5 items that came to mind, the items that I've chosen happen to be dry and not need to be hung up, but they've been stuffed in stuff sacks and that kind of thing, so they look kind of crappy, but man, they work. They're durable, they're functional on more than one level, and that's important to me, that they don't just have one purpose. So instead of rambling on and on about a bunch of crap that I didn't prepare to say whatsoever, we'll just get started. Number 1, my Snugpak jungle blanket. I
adore
my Snugpak jungle blanket. This has served me so well. It's kept me warm just around the campfire. It's kept me warm. I've had it in my car where I just sort of threw it over me if I was sleeping in my car. Not that I live in my car. I've used this in the summertime, just this, with a sleep pad inside a tent instead of a sleeping bag. I have to agree with Devin. I'm leaning more towards using a quilt to sleep in rather than a traditional sleeping bag. And even when I have used a sleeping bag, I've sort of unzipped it except for the foot box and put it over me instead of sleeping all the way wrapped up. I'm kind of claustrophobic anyway, and I hate that. But this is good down to probably in the 40-degree Fahrenheit range, and will run you about $40. It's antimicrobial, and how do you say that?
Antimicrobial
and antibacterial. It doesn't stink. I've used this 8,000 times around campfires and, you know, warm nights where maybe I got a little sweaty, and smells brand new. Is brand new practically, because I have beat the snot out of this and it's still just like it was when it arrived. So number 1, or number 5, these are in no particular order, is the Snugpak jungle blanket. I'll put links to these items down below, along with who I decided to tag in my video. So there you go. It's green, which is disappointing to me. If you've watched any of my videos, blue's kind of my thing, but that's alright. It's incredibly warm, and a lot of military folks have use this as a replacement for the whoopee blanket or the whoopee quilt, whatever it's called, that they no longer make in the military, saying that this is a very close second. So highly recommended. Let's move on. Okay, so there's a new local company down in southern Utah. I guess that's local. It's in Utah, called Outdoor Vitals, and they're a startup type company that has really, they seem to have really taken off. And they watch my videos, they've commented on them. I've started watching theirs and paying attention to their products. They're a small company, and I'll tell you, they make some really quality equipment. And no, they're not paying me to say this. Nobody's paying me to say any of this.
I don't make enough money on YouTube to feed my family.
Outdoor Vitals makes some incredible equipment at affordable prices. That's probably as good, if not in some cases better, than the high-end stuff that you often are forced to buy if you really want to be comfortable and lightweight. This is the Aries 30. What this is a multi-use underquilt. It's a mummy pod that completely encloses your hammock. You can zip it all the way up to your neck and be completely, like, you know, like a green bean, or in my case a blue bean. And you can also use it as a quilt, which I have done. I've used it in all of those scenarios except for I haven't used the pod version of it. There are different ways to set it up. You can also use it as a sleeping bag. It zips up. It's got some really good zippers on here. It's full of like 8 million down or whatever. It's good down to 30 degrees. I don't know all the specs. You guys can look those up. I'm not such a gearhead that I know every detail of everything I own. There's their little logo. Guy has a huge beard and has some very helpful videos on how to use their equipment. And I'll tell you what, this has kept me warm. I was just in the mountains with this as an underquilt in the teens in Fahrenheit. I'm not speaking very well, but basically it was cold. And I had this underneath me, underneath my hammock as an underquilt. I had inside a sleep pad and over that my jungle blanket. And then I used a 5-degree Teton sports bag, also another Utah local company, Teton Sports in Salt Lake City. I used that bag as an overquilt with it unzipped and my feet in the foot box, and the mummy was backwards so I could actually flip it over my head. It was pretty cool. So I was warm all night, and I didn't feel anything underneath me, which if you hammock camp, you know that's where you lose all your heat. I've also used this just as a quilt in a tent on a camp out, and it did fantastic. I was on the sleep pad with this over me or wrapped around me, and I was completely comfortable without feeling claustrophobic. So the Aries 30 by Outdoor Vitals is number 4. Okay, so something I have consistently taken with me. This is how I find out something is my favorite. I don't look at it and go,
that's my favorite,
just by its appearance or whatever. I find myself taking the same things over and over on backpacking trips, and that's when I go, you know what? This is one of my favorite pieces of gear. I keep taking it, I keep using it, it keeps serving me well, and this is one of those things. This is the Esbit cook stove. Now, these are not expensive, and you do need Esbit tabs to cook with these things. They come with a little handy little stuff sack. I've used alcohol, I've used the gas stoves. I still do. I still use all of those. And I recently purchased a small firebox stove that doubles as an alcohol stove, and I bought the Trangia alcohol stove to go with it and used it on this last camp out. I had this just in case things didn't go well, but they did go well with that. I haven't used the firebox stove portion of it as an actual wood burning stove, but I'll get to that later. So I'm still testing that equipment, but this came with me anyway, so that should tell you something. Why would I bring 2 cook systems? Well, because I trust this. So as you can see, it's full of Esbit cubes here. I've got a little piece of tin foil for a windscreen. The cloth is probably for my glasses, blue of course. This is super simple to use. You just take out the inner portion, put a little Esbit cube in there and light it, and place this on top, and maybe put a windscreen around it. The handles are nice, sturdy. I do like that it has markings on the cups. So many of these cups don't have any markings, and I end up guessing how much water to use, and I either have a Mountain House soup or something so thick that I can barely swallow it because I didn't add enough water. So I really appreciate that that's on there. It's in ounces and liters, or milliliters. And this has saved my butt in cold weather where the gas failed. Alcohol I'm still experimenting with, so I don't know. But where the gas failed, the Esbit stepped up, and I was able to cook using this. Didn't matter what temperature it was. Worked fantastic. Boils water quickly. So, very useful. I will continue to use this. I will cherish it. I will pass it on to my children and grandchildren, and they will put it in a museum one day for the mentally deranged. They make different versions of these, but this is my favorite one, and I'll put a link for it down below. I don't remember what I paid, but it wasn't much. It was maybe $20. It's anodized aluminum. It's not titanium. I do have some titanium, but this does well, and so far hasn't given me the Alzheimer's.
What was I saying? Who are you people?
That was number 3, right? So number 2, now this is a heavy sucker, and that's because I love these kick-ass straps that came with it. They're really strong. They hold 500 pounds, 250 on each side, and have loops in the actual straps. This is my Honest Outfitters double hammock. Why would I take a double hammock camping? Well, this thing is so big, you know, it would fit my St. Bernard Bob in it and me. It wraps around you completely. I've considered putting Velcro on it so I can seal it up. Now, I haven't really used this much to actually sleep in at night on a camp out, but I take it with to lounge in. I have a smaller hammock from the same company, a single version, same color, that I've used instead. And this will run about 30 to 40 bucks. It's not an expensive hammock, but it's absolutely reliable. It's made of this parachute material that dries quickly if it gets wet. And I mostly bring this as a luxury item, but I always bring it. Unless I'm hammock camping, then I bring the single and just leave this at home. It's heavy. I would say this is a good couple of pounds. When you get up to a spot to camp after hiking for God knows how long, and your back hurts and your legs are sore and tired and you're exhausted, and you throw this up within 5 minutes, you're floating on a cloud. I freaking love this thing. This particular brand has served me well, and it's very affordable. I'm all about saving money and getting more product for my money than spending $500 on a whole hammock system. My money needs to be very careful where it goes, so very fond of this. And finally, this is not what I would consider a luxury item, but many people would. But for me, it is a necessity. And it is my Washburn Rover backpacking guitar. Blue. It's tiny, like a ukulele, you know. Not very heavy at all. Pound and a half, I think. Most of the weight is up here in the headstock. This is not something that's probably really interesting to a lot of backpackers, but I had to include it. I unfortunately put a GoPro bracket on here that was in the wrong place, but before I realized it, man, it was on there. So it's a permanent part of the guitar, and I don't use that at all. Anyway, so there you go. There's my Washburn Rover. You know, just fun to sit around the campfire and play songs and just enjoy being outside, as opposed to bringing my full-size acoustic, or God forbid my 12-string acoustic. I could never bring those things on the trail. And I get a lot of good comments when I take this out and people see me hiking with this strapped to my backpack. They want to know where I got it and how much it was, and they're quite interested in this. So if you are a guitarist at all, or songwriter or whatever, this is a good way to go. So that's it. That's my fifth item. Kind of weird, kind of an odd thing to throw in, but
Dang it.
so there you go. That is my top 5. Sorry, kitty. Those are my top 5 backpacking essentials that Devin with Backcountry Exposure tagged me in. So I hope that was okay. It's my turn to tag 3 people, so we'll see if they watch my videos, huh? Because I seriously had to go through the list of subscribers or people I subscribe to and find out if they had already done this, and it looks like these 3 have not. So the first one I want to tag is Rev Hiker, Drew with Rev Hiker Outdoors. He's on the East Coast, has a great channel. Right now he's doing a bushcraft series that's really cool that I've really enjoyed. And he's a really nice guy, and he's just a family man, and just a great person with a good channel and very knowledgeable, very low-key, mellow dude. So check out his channel. I'll put that link down below. So if you're watching this, Drew, you've been tagged. Second, I want to bring a female into this, and that's Catherine Gregory. She lives on the West Coast in California, Southern California, and she has some amazing backpacking videos. She's a photographer as well. I've tagged her in the past in other videos, and really enjoyed some of her responses. So, Catherine, you've been tagged. And then finally, this last person I'm going to tag is actually a really good friend of mine, but doesn't have a lot of content on his YouTube channel. However, what he has made is really good. I like what he's doing. And he's a good friend of mine, and if you've watched my channel at all, you've seen him in a bunch of videos, especially this last year. And that is Joe, a.k.a. Mr. T-Max. So I'm tagging you, Joe, so you can make a top 5 gear video. Now the thing is with Joe is he's a total gearhead. This guy knows specs about things that sometimes I don't even know what he's saying, and I just nod politely. But most of the time, just kidding, Joe. But most of the time, he sends me links to stuff all the time. He's very knowledgeable. He really researches his stuff. So I'm interested in seeing what Mr. T-Max has to say about his top 5 favorite backpacking things. And no, it's not blue. Anyway, that's it, guys. I'm Utah Steve. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Maybe you haven't. And I've gained probably 10 subscribers before I even posted this video, probably courtesy of Devin mentioning me in his video. And I really appreciate that, Devin. And to all of you who just came on board, welcome. And I'm looking forward to 2018 and all it has to offer. So I will see you guys in the next video.
Here's a little song I wrote. Gonna sing it note for note, don't worry.